And they call his name Yeshua,
They call her name,
which means in Hebrew, the salvation of God.
Peanut butter that's crunchy.
But I tell you a mystery.
But I tell you a mystery.
We shall not all sleep.
We shall not all sleep.
But we shall be
sleep
changed.
with you as a neighbor.
You called upon Jesus, that Roman Catholic there who just spoke.
That Jew.
Called upon
Who
Jesus.
Just yelled.
And look how he turned out.
Look how he turned out.
My own opinion of the HateMan is that he says he preaches hatred, but I really don't think so.
Strangers may seem and think, oh, he's just another kook in Berkeley. But I think overall, people who know him, I mean, he's a likable guy.
In a moment.
In a moment.
In a twinkling of an eye.
In a twinkling of a fucking eye.
At the last trumpet.
At the last trumpet?
For the trumpet will sound.
Where does it say that?
He wears a dress and all that, but as far as his feeling, I mean, my opinion is that it's a perverted. He's perverted.
You too can be normal, like me.
Or you could be normal like me. Is that another normal one up there, Dad?
Do you know the Lord?
Do you know Guava? Do you know
Christ
Gilda?
died on that
It's a trick
cross,
question.
Good Friday for you.
Why is it good for me?
He took upon himself
the sin of the world. It was a disaster. He had a bad day.
And in his flesh.
Now I got to hear about it for 1900 years. The Bible says there's a time to love, a time to hate. The Bible says hate Satan, hate evil ways, hate those who hate God, hate your mother.
Hate is a sin. I don't, just by definition, his name seems to be a little bit wrong. I mean, I think that God is love, and that we shouldn't hate things, we should love them.
The HateMan lives within a logical framework that is all his own.
The Bible itself tells you to say,
because this is the
you
time
haven't
to
caught
love.
up to the Bible yet.
This is the time to love.
We
It's
tried
the time
that,
to love
it didn't
now.
work.
That's right. Praise
1967 is over.
You can't, I think, understand him without understanding the framework that he's built up.
My main objection, if you're a preacher, is not so much what you believe, which, you know, you believe in God, I don't. Well, that's up to you. That's your decision.
All men by nature are children of wrath.
Fuck you.
All men have inherited the sinful nature. Some.
My complaint with you, the preachers, is that you're standing on a chair yelling at me, putting me down, calling me EVIL or BAD or wicked or a sinner, damning me, cursing me, saying that I'll be condemned to hell for eternity. And I feel as a member of the public, I have a right to dispute that, to argue. It's like if I'm accused of robbing a bank, I'm not going to be silent. Silence then would be construed as a sign of guilt. And if you're standing on a chair calling me a sinner or evil, if I say nothing to that, the effect is as though I am guilty.
Who's going to stand up and say, without being nervous, that homosexuality is an abomination? That's what the Bible says. Who will say that abortion is murder without wondering if you're going to lose a vote come election time?
You know why you are here? It isn't to fornicate like you are doing now.
Sounds like a nice way of saying fuck you.
I can't satisfy you, but Christ can satisfy you. He wants to give you some kind of satisfaction.
Who are you? I don't trust you unless you say I hate you. Why are you talking to me?
What does that do?
What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
I want you to say I hate you. That's how I trust. Different people have different ways of trusting. Some people don't trust you until you live next door to them for 10 years. But this is my threshold for trust.
Say I hate you.
I hate you.
Okay, okay.
I hate you. I hate you.
I don't want a relationship that's based on rapport. That's the ordinary way of establishing and maintaining a relationship, is to have things in common, to get along. And two people meeting, they'll start getting ecstatic about the things that they have in common. And then into the relationship, they start finding out the things that they're opposite about, which is when things really get interesting. And I want to know those things right away. At least I want to face off with you right away. I want to know, can you care about me when we're opposite? anybody can get along for a while. I want to know, can you care about me when we're opposite? Because if we get to know each other, we're going to be opposite, alien to each other in many, many ways. And I feel those are interesting. Those are real, and those, if they're incorporated in the relationship, are funny. Very primitive people would commonly have to move suddenly, you know, because another tribe was attacking them, or the weather changed, or we used to be very mobile. So we would have our bedding and all our belongings bundleable, where we could make a bundle, throw it over our back, or drag it behind a horse, or whatever. They didn't have shopping carts then. And that a shopping cart is a bundle, is a very ancient, primitive, simple idea of being able to throw all our stuff in one bundle and move it. Along with the bundle concept, then there's sub-bundles. Desk stuff, clothes, recycling. Some of this stuff is obviously non-functional, just for decoration or playfulness. You know, I want to get your attention. I want to be noticed, so it's expressing individuality. That's my dog, Todd. Normally it's a Todd container, but Todd ran away, so now got a different one, but it's still my dog, Todd. Saying I hate you is a way of caring then, but on the verbal level, when we're opposite. Saying I hate you, saying fuck you, you know, if you put me down, I say fuck you. That's caring. I never say F-U-C-K-O-F-F. I feel that's harsh. When we're opposite on the physical level, pushing is a way of caring, resolving conflict. Here, okay, right. So that this is pushing hands, or pushing shoulders. So if it's something basic like cigarettes or money, pushing is a way to resolve conflict, to test. Let's say you want a cigarette and you don't want to give me the 10 cents, 15 cents. Pushing shoulders, probably be shoulder to shoulder, but that would be a way of finding out you want the cigarette more than I want the money. It's not strength, because I do it with children too. But so if we push, and then one of us will realize, wow, the other person, like, normally I'll give in if it's a cigarette, but at some point where we're pushing, I'll realize, wow, you want the cigarette more than I want the money, and I give it to you. I use pushing in any kind of a conflict. Let's say you say something and I don't believe you. Then I'll say push if you want me to believe that. You want to get Mexican food, I want to get Chinese food, then we could push about it. And we might get a compromise. We take out from one place and eat at the other, but if we can't work out something verbally, some kind of compromise, pushing would be a way to determine who wants it more.
Okay. If we can care when we're negative, then we can be negative. I'm saying it's not working trying to be positive all the time. Let's try being negative and be caring.
I remember it, man. I fucking hate you. Hate your guts.
Fucking hear you.
I hate you.
I hear you.
I hate you.
I hear you.
Thank you.
And the only way that I use hate is as in, I hate you. That's caring. Hitler, the Klan, don't say, I hate you. They'll say, well, we hate, or I hate, T-H-E-M, someone else, the third person. That's not caring. I can only care in the I, thou form. Martin Buber, German philosopher, said this, and I got it from you, Martin Buber, that I can only care about you in the I, thou form. So let's say I'm angry at somebody. Let's say I'm angry at my mother. As long as I'm thinking about my mother as S-H-E, I'm not caring. So I think, and psychology is doing this now with role-playing, so I'll think of you, Sylvia, as a you. So it's an I, thou, and I'll be thinking, yes, Sylvia, I hate your fucking guts. Okay? Now that's caring. And I'm clearing my negative feelings there. Even if I'm not talking to you, Sylvia, because you, Sylvia, you don't want to hear it that much. You, my mother, are very, very positive. You know, you're trying to have a nice day and basically bummed out on everything. Religion uses this, the third person, like the Christian who says, I speak not for myself, but for HIM, right? And maybe even for HIM. That's like a shell game. It's taking my attention off you. If you're the Christian, you're the one who wants my money or my heart on a stick, right? But if you're saying, oh, I'm not speaking for myself, I'm speaking for G-O-D or HIM, well, where is this person? That's a third person.
Seeks after your heart right now.
He does. You're the one talking about him. He's dead and buried. You're being the bitch. Nag, nag, nag.
If you acknowledge him, he'll acknowledge you before the Father.
You haven't done a cross posture all day. What's the matter? You're upstairs. It's your
When the Lord comes in your life, your language
When the Lord comes in, fuck you.
It won't.
Fuck you. I don't want to change my language.
I know you don't. I realize
But
that.
you want me to, so it's easier to care about me.
God does.
God's not bitching.
God has redeemed
You're the one with the
men.
amplifier, nagging.
He wants all men to repent, return to him.
I haven't heard that from God. He can leave a post-it note on my shopping cart. We haven't heard from God for 1900 years. Since then, we've had television, telephone.
That's why God has
Post-it notes.
sent preachers to you, Java.
Oh, the
to let you
guava.
know.
It sent preachers to you, Dennis, so you could know.
What are you going to do with God?
What are you going to do with guava?
Hmm? One day we'll stand. We're one heartbeat away from eternity,
One headache
and
away
we
from
don't.
eternity.
And we don't prepare for eternity.
Well, you're wasting a valuable moment here. We could be shopping.
I moved outside like 6 years ago, and it's part of my program here of being totally helpless, totally vulnerable. Basically, 35 years I was active. I'd have a goal, I'd set a goal, and I'd work to achieve it. And so part of that flip-flop was to become passive. Now I'm a bum. I'm basically, you know, sitting by the river waiting to see what comes down the river, trying to get along on nothing. You know, eat out of the trash, find clothes in the free box, or the trash. It's like when I was a kid, I used to have this dream of being near a river and everything I needed came down the river. Toys, food, candy bars, everything. And I feel now I'm living that way. I mean, Telegraph is my river. So this is a totally different way of operating. I think that was the change, is just try type B for bum, as a way of operating, and just see what's already here. Instead of thinking what I need, like in the days when I used to buy things, I would think, oh yeah, I want to get a sweater, I want a green sweater. And then I'd go scouring the stores to find the green sweater that I had an image of in my mind. Whereas now I'll think, I'm cold. I want to be warm, I need warmth. And then I'll just start picking things up, looking through the trash or walking up the street with my eyes open. In an ordinary type A lifestyle, if I wanted to wash a blanket, you know, I'd have an apartment, I'd put money in a washing machine, or I'd have a washing machine or a sink and just wash it. You know, if I wanted soap, I'd go buy the soap. Type B way of living, I don't decide, you know, oh, I want soap, I'll go buy soap. I just wait. So I have a dirty blanket, and then when I find the soap, then I can wash it. Now, in some way, it's being helpless, but in another way, it's being subject to the flow. So I have to tune in to the flow of energy, and so I'm thinking soap when I go out. And then when I find soap, it's like, wow, soap, and it's a gift because it's free. People say, don't you get bored? I have enough excitement, enough drama, and there are these little adventures. I mean, living outside on no money, I'm living right at the edge of experience. So then when things happen, it's like drama. If I'm looking in a trash can and I'm hungry, I don't know what kind of food I'm going to find. Will I find food or a dead rat? But it's an advantage of living sparely, minimally.
How are you, sir? Have a nice day. Hello, how are you? Have a nice day now, both of you. Hi, how are you? Hey, have a nice day.
I don't deny that positives are real. I mean, it's like yin-yang. There's positive, there's negative. A positivist is trying to be only positive, trying not to be negative. And I feel that's basically a disaster.
My basic idea is there's a negative way of caring. I feel that's my most original insight, idea. A secondary idea is that to voice something, positive or negative, dissipates it. Now, I don't want to dissipate positives. I do want to dissipate negatives. I learned to say fuck you in New York. That's like hello. But coming out here, I mean, it's like people are still having an NICE day. This is 73. So just to say fuck you would knock buildings down.
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
It's not that. Fuck you!
And then I started saying I hate you, and that was like worse than an earthquake, which of course was part of the fun of saying it. That's when I felt I started to be able to rebuild my life, my identity, based on acknowledging negativity. Positives, I don't want to hear it. I mean, if you're feeling positive towards me, don't tell me. Just do it. Feel it. People say L-O-V-E without saying I hate you. I'm afraid of you. I'm real wary of people who won't voice negatives. I think it's just like building up like a time bomb, and you're gonna blow. I feel. In any case, you're gonna be a very tense person.
If you have anger in your heart towards another, you have committed murder in your heart.
You're not allowed to be angry then. Fuck you. Those are the most dangerous people. Nice guys with machetes.
6 out of 10 people who kill each other every day in America are killing someone, I read this recently, are killing someone they say L-O-V-E to. Now, if we can say I hate you, if we're saying it every day of the week as we go along, hey, fuck you, I hate you, I'm angry at you, that kind of thing, hopefully we're not going to have a backlog of hostility and tension by the time Friday comes around or the end of the relationship when normally that's when things get dangerous.
Because then you, the Christians, talk about when Jesus comes back, he's going to kick ass, he's going to have a two-edged sword. Oh, he doesn't sit on it. Well, why not something in the middle? Why doesn't Jesus just come back and say, fuck you? He hasn't tried that yet. Why doesn't he come back and say, I hate you? Then he wouldn't have to kill everybody, slaughter all the sheep. '64.
Well, I went through my basic changes in, like all of them at once. I was so normal for 35 years, you wouldn't have noticed me. Got a college degree, I was in the military, the Peace Corps. I was going to work, I was a success, you know, I was married, had a kid, had a Volkswagen, had a job. I was working at the New York Times for like 10 years as a reporter. And then, you know, I was at the Times 1970, I was 35, had done everything I was told, and was basically bored. So I figured, you know, there's got to be an easier way to live than this. Okay, I've been doing what you society, other people have been telling me to do my whole life. No, now I'm going to do what I want to do. But I couldn't think of anything I wanted to do. When I was a kid, I knew I wanted to play ball even though it's getting dark. But I gave that up, and I'd go home. But then, now I'm 35, and I don't know what I want. I don't want to play ball anymore. But then I realized, well, I know what you society don't want me to do, so I'll do that. because maybe what I want to do is in there. So I dropped acid and started getting stoned, smoking dope, and I mean, it was so simple to get stoned, and society is like so uptight. My mother was always saying, if you do drugs, it'll melt your brain, and it was so simple to get stoned that I realized that if society is putting this much energy into saying don't get stoned, and it felt so simple to be stoned, then what is society right about? And the answer is practically nothing. And of course, this is why you, society, don't like drugs, because then people start thinking that way. And you, Nancy Reagan, were right. Don't do drugs because it'll melt your brain. And I needed my brain to melt, because my brain was like a fist at that point in my life, where I was trying to please you, other people, impress you, and live up to your expectations, and was totally bored. Although you, my mother, could say, what's your son doing? Oh, he's at the Times. I just saw a story he had in the paper yesterday. So you, society, were proud of me, but I was bored out of my mind. As a street person living outside, a shopping cart person, I'm low on the ladder of esteem, respect. But preachers, fundamentalist preachers, are even lower on the ladder. So that if somebody said to my mother, well, what's your son doing? And she said, well, he's living in the gutter, he's a street person, he's got a shopping cart and stuff. And, the relative, the friend might say, oh. But if I was a preacher, a soapbox preacher, and my mother was asked what I'm doing, she said, oh, well, he's preaching Jesus in the street. Then the person would go, oh, no. So in a way, by heckling, even though I'm a street person, a shopping cart person, by heckling soapbox preachers, I move up, like near the top of the list. Up there with brain surgeons.
Dogs, come inside.
But we're supposed to be higher than the beast.
Who said
we're
that?
supposed to be higher.
Some of you, the preachers, want me to heckle, want some heckling, just to get some fireworks.
I've told people around here I'd pay him $10 an hour just to have him be with me, because he draws a big crowd, and I can't draw a crowd like that.
You come here and you argue with us and you draw a crowd, and then that crowd gets to hear the gospel message. God is using you to spread the gospel.
I think people are starting to heckle this, not just because of me, but Berkeley probably is a focal point of opposition. But I think people all over the world are starting to stand up to this stuff when people are trying to push it on them and say, hey, wait a minute, F-U-C-K-Y-R-U.
Let me ask you, Berkeley, what is it?
You're not supposed to, I'm a Christian and I don't go around calling somebody a fag and a homo. You are judging. That is not God's right. God, Jesus hung out with prostitutes. He hung out with tax collectors. He loved them despite what they did wrong. And Christ said to the woman who was an adulteress, ye who have not sinned, let him cast the first stone.
I said, you guys are speaking. God is not speaking. Both of you are speaking. Is that such a difficult concept for a Jesus freak to get through his thick skull?
He's speaking through us. The Spirit of God lives within me.
Well, that's like me saying, well, Elvis Presley is speaking through me. Does that make sense to you?
It's the Spirit of God.
Well, it's the spirit of Elvis.
I'm talking to you. I don't know who H.E. is. I hate you saying H.E. I'm right here. I'm right here. I hate you saying it. Do it, don't say it.
Because I love you enough to come out here and tell you.
I hate you because I don't believe in wrong.
Oh, you don't. You don't believe in right or wrong.
No, I don't like it. I like myself.
I've withdrawn from the graduate program and my fellowship. I've given up my place, and I'm now living outdoors, camping in the same camp as Lulu, who you call Hate.
I was raised in institutions from the age of 12. I did my first year when I was 12 years old, and went on a life of crime from there. When When I was 18, I did some time in the county jail, just continuing my life of crime. When I was 18, I did, I think, 4 and 6 months in the county jail for burglaries, supporting a heroin habit.
Yes, I am an ex-homosexual. Please God. For 25 years, I was an active homosexual. I am now an ex-homosexual.
I'm the hate boy. No one else has claimed they are the hate boy. Hopefully one day there'll be hate kids and girls and everything.
The drums for me is a model of what I'm up to here. Physics says everything is vibration. There's nothing solid. We see things as solid, but if we look more closely at them, there's nothing, there are no little teeny tiny building blocks here. In a very simple way, the drums represent this. Because in the drums, we are a vibratory pattern. We're producing a beat. We'll play buckets now, plastic buckets with sticks, because they're cheaper and funnier. We'll get a beat that spans all of the possible beats, and that is bizarre. I mean, people melt down. People are dancing, being crazy, screaming. We're totally safe with each other, and we're in a bubble that includes, there's no such thing then as random noise. It's funny, it's silly, it's ridiculous, it's ecstasy. I want to be blissed out all the time, and I think it's possible if I expand my bandwidth to include all these other vibratory types, then I dissolve into the Tao. I transcend the material plane. We can get out of here. We can transcend the material plane. Caring is the key. Fuck power. Negative caring is a way to melt into each other. Fuck you. Have a lousy day.